G'day, everyone. Welcome back to another Toon podcast, the Southern Hemisphere's biggest and best podcast for all things Newcastle United. I'm joined tonight by Dimi in the Democratic People's Republic of Victoria. Dimi, how are you, mate?
Very well, mate. Back-to-back 4-0 wins, and the sun is shining again on Tyneside, which is wonderful. We're not don't need to talk about doomsday and all the other rubbish that was going on a few weeks ago. So, much better now in the life of a Newcastle fan.
Yes, it's been a terrific week, and for those of you who've just come out from under a rock and haven't accessed anything, we are here to talk about a pummeling 4-0 victory against Ipswich at Portman Road. It was a traditional 3 o'clock kickoff in the UK, which meant it is the dog shit time of 2 a.m. for us here in Melbourne. I think honesty is a very good thing, Dimi. My last sort of 9 days have been absolutely chaotic. There have been late nights. There's been plenty of alcohol involved. We're probably hitting that time of the year where no one really knows what day it is anymore as well. So I didn't get up at 2 a.m. and watch this. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb and watched it all when I woke up this morning at about 8 o'clock, which is a massive sleep in for me. How about you, mate? Did you watch it live or did you watch it in the morning?
Dumb question, Keeks. I definitely watched it. Yeah, definitely watched it live.
Yeah. I knew that.
I also caught the end of the Villa Man City game. Caught the end of the Villa Man City game. I did have a big day. Yeah, it was Derby Day here in Melbourne. So look, mate, just par for the course. Another weekend watching football. But it was it's especially after last weekend. It was I think a lot more confident waking up or staying up till that hour of the morning and hoping for a result. Probably if you asked me the same question 2.5 weeks ago, I would have been dreading waking up at that time. But yeah, we seem to have hopefully turned the corner for good.
All right. Great segue, mate. And I promise we didn't rehearse that at all. Now, probably, 8 days ago, most people were saying this is probably going to be the biggest week of the year. We had 2 games that seemed pretty winnable on paper with a League Cup quarterfinal sandwiched in the middle of that at home as well. There were the Eddie out chorus was getting louder and louder after probably a disappointing result against Crystal Palace, which seems to be the norm. We traditionally don't really play well at Selhurst Park. Had a great game, great result against Liverpool, and then kind of dropped the ball again against Brentford, and they were all out, mate. You and Jack, especially on the front foot, fighting these fires and just telling people the facts. Really, not saying anything hyperbolic, just purely spitting truth bombs at everyone. How do we feel 8 days on? 1-3, 11-1 aggregate. I'd also argue that one is might have been offside as well, but it didn't matter. The game was wrapped up anyway. Are we back, or is the opposition needs to be kind of catered for in these 3 games?
Look, to say we're fully back to what we're capable of is probably a little bit premature, but I definitely think we're getting a lot closer because even though the opposition, obviously, we're not playing your top 2 or 3 teams, but they're the games that we've been struggling. And you just mentioned it before. We dropped points against Palace, who are struggling this season. We've dropped points this year at home against West Ham, who have been awful this season. So it's not as if we're destroying bottom of the table teams. So the fact that we've gone out in the last 2 league games, scored 8 goals, not conceded 1, and then in the League Cup game we've reversed a 4-2 defeat to a 3-1 win. I think we're definitely well and truly back to or getting close to our best, and you can just tell the confidence now. I think, especially in front of goal, has turned. I mean, that Palace game a few weeks ago, we never looked like scoring. We did score a goal; it was an own goal, but we never looked like scoring that night. And
did we have? I don't think we had a shot, did we?
No, we didn't. Yeah, it was. I don't think we had a shot on target or even a shot that whole game. But since that game and the Liverpool game at home, obviously it was a bit end to end, but we really have found our attacking mojo, and you can just tell the confidence is now sort of oozing again through our star men up front, which is obviously what you need. So not all the way back, but I think we're well and truly on our way.
Yeah. So, were we ever gone though?
Well, no, exactly right. I mean, it's not like we were cellar dwellers and on the way out, but this is the life of a Newcastle fan, or this is the era of social media when we have a couple of bad results and we don't get what we think we should be getting in terms of results. The shit hits the fan, and obviously after that Brentford game, and even after the Palace game, there was a lot of chatter saying, "Oh, Howe's taking us too far. He's taking us as far as he can. This team is stale. We're still playing
No plan
Murphys. We're
B.
still no plan B. Yeah, we don't know how to beat the low block." There's a lot of rhetoric out there, and it seemed like everyone just had collective amnesia and just completely forgot the runs on the board that we've got under Eddie. And like Jack and I were saying, it's you got to trust the guy. He's proven time and time again he knows how to get a tune out of these players. And yes, our squad probably is a bit stale and we need some fresh bodies, but you got to give him the chance to turn it around. And within a week, we've gone from the joints about to burn down to a semi-final in the cup, and we've won the last two league games 8-0, and that's no mean feat too. The Premier League's a very even league, and I mean there are a few teams who are struggling this year, but to score 8 goals without reply, I think that's definitely no mean feat.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we've talked shit for too long now. Let's get stuck into the meat and bones. One change, Joe Litton suspended for the game. Joe Willett come in, pretty a like-for-like replacement basically for that. I think there were some schools of thought that maybe Longstaff was going to be the guy, but it seemed pretty obvious that if Joe Litton wasn't going to play, then Joe Willett was going to play, given they interchanged a fair bit during the game and stuff like that. So that familiarity with each other was a no-brainer. 26 seconds. Dimi, I wasn't ready for that when I started watching it this morning. 6th fastest goal in Newcastle history, if you don't mind. It took about 5 minutes to find out if it was a bloody goal or not.
I'll tell you what.
This is what the automated this is the richest league in the world. You have to bring this shit in. Like automated offside. You can't be hanging around for 5 minutes waiting for a goal to get given on an offside.
Yeah, I think there must have been. I'm not sure if it was the coverage that we were getting, but all the coverage overall, there may have been some issues with cameras and amount of cameras they had at Portman Road, because the one replay they kept showing of that potential offside, it was just the worst
from the
angle
corner flag somewhere.
Yeah, so you were never going to see in line if it was going to be off or not. But the issue that I've got, I mean, it seems like every time our goal is checked for VAR, they check for handball, they check for offside, they check for if his pants are too low, if his socks are too high. Like there's
if he's left at home.
Yeah, there's just any excuse. It seems they try to find to disallow our goals. Maybe it happens everywhere, but it seems with our goals, the VAR checks are never 30-second checks. They're usually 5-minute checks. But thank goodness it was given. I mean, I don't think we saw a replay whether it was with that dotted line or anything like that. So I'm not sure what they were looking at. But we'll have to take their word for it. And it was onside, and definitely not the start you'd expect in an away game, especially lately for us. We don't really start quickly, especially on the road. So it was a massive bonus for us to score that early.
Yeah, and I think riding high over the last 2 games as well, to get that early one as well, that confidence level stays at that really high rate. So let's just talk about Alexander Isak as a player. We don't have to go into the kind of blow by blow analysis of the goals and stuff like that. But I remember I definitely said this last year that he's the best finisher I've seen at our club ever. Alan Shearer was a great player, but the way that Alexander Isak finishes his work, and I know, and it's really stood out in the last couple of games actually, where there's a couple of times, it might have been Brentford too. He tried to be a little bit too fancy and too cool and things like that, but he's his feet and his touch, and it's incredible. Like maybe the Alan Shearer that we got, he was a power player. Like he might have lost a yard of pace through the knee injuries and stuff like that, but my God, he's our best striker. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying that Alexander Isak's better than him. I said he's our best finisher. Just the way he finishes the goals, and I think his first 20-odd goals weren't touched by a keeper or an opposition player. That's the type of stuff. Like, it's just nuts, mate, how good this guy is, and he gets better and better.
Yeah, he's silk. He's pure silk, and he just glides on the pitch. He's a joy to watch, and we're so lucky to have a player like him because he's genuine world class, and he would not look at a place for any team in the world. He is that good. There was talk last year, Haaland, Isak, and that's the sort of level that Isak was being held amongst in the UK and around the world in terms of up and coming strikers in terms of his age group. So, I mean, yeah, his finishes today they oozed class. And the frustrating thing for me with him today, not that I was frustrated with his hat trick, was wonderful to score. He could have scored 6 goals today.
Yeah,
I mean,
he left a few on the table.
he definitely he does have a knack where he wants to score the most aesthetically pleasing goal. He wants to be like sometimes a little bit too cute with his perfect touch. Even the one where he had the open net where Bruno steals the ball from like 2 yards, he still tried to make that seem
mate, you could have blasted it straight in.
He could have launched the crap out of it. It would have been a goal, but he had to make it seem a bit more silky. So he's a special player, and when he's in form and he gets on these runs, I think it's the 5th game now or the 4th game he scored in a row. When he gets on these runs, he's almost impossible to stop. And mate, more the merrier for him. If we just got to get him in those positions, we weren't getting him in great positions at the start of the season. He wasn't having many chances, but now we've found our attacking mojo. The last couple of games or couple of weeks, I think he's going to start banging the goals in because if he's getting 3-4 chances a game, he's putting in at least 2.
Yeah, and I think that whole, and I said this all year, and the other guys, we all said the same thing. Everything has felt really clunky this year. Like, everything seemed forced. We never looked like we really had a rhythm, even though we were winning games at the start. Like, we were never really playing well and stuff like that, and everything just seemed really, clunky. It just didn't feel right. This last week, and we'll get to maybe some of the reasons why shortly, everything has just felt really good. Everything looks like it's a well-oiled machine now. Our attacking play, like you said, it's been absolutely first class. We look like scoring nearly every time we burst forward and stuff like that. And when you've got someone like him, like, we're not even at Christmas, he's had 14 goals and assists in 15 games already this year. And I think something that shouldn't go unnoticed is, in the context of these results over the last week or so, is his time. So he's played 60 minutes against Leicester. He played 77 against Brentford. He played 73 yesterday, which is unreal. Our ability with Callum Wilson basically permanently injured now is our ability to kind of manage him in game and get him off and get him a rest. We've got 3 massive games coming up against Villa, Man U, and Tottenham. So to be able to have him get rest during the game and things like that, especially with these short turnarounds, has been absolutely wonderful for him. And just sort of reading up on this stuff this afternoon, mate. And this surprised me. It's the first hat trick for us since Ayoze Perez in the 18-19 season against Southampton. I would have swore black and blue that Callum Wilson had scored a hat trick for us in his time. I couldn't believe it was that long. So he's teased this since he started. So many times he scored twice and he's had opportunities to get a hat trick. And then I said during the week, imagine if Tonali got a hat trick before Isak did. Like, that'd be a travesty for the poor bloke. But he finally got it. The monkey's off the back now. I reckon it would have been playing on his mind a fair bit too. Like, I think it's a big thing, scoring a hat trick, and the fact that he'd come close so many times. But now he's actually, the shackles are off and stuff like that. I could see him maybe doing a Wijnaldum or something and getting 4 or 5. Well, not 5.
Well,
But Shearer got 5 against Sheffield Wednesday. But yeah, like you
he
said,
should have had
these
5
chances
this
that
morning.
he's missed.
Should have had 5 this morning.
Like it's not beyond the realms of possibility that something like this could happen as well. Another bloke I want to touch on, mate, and is Jacob Murphy. Now, Jacob he's a roller coaster of a player. Like, and this isn't a game-to-game thing. This could be an in-game thing where he does something that just scratches your head. Like, oh my god, how did you do that? Or how didn't you do that? And then you do something 5 minutes later with your mouth open, like, holy shit, how did you do that when you just done that 5 minutes ago? But his last probably 4 games, really, because he was pretty good against Brentford too, to be honest. 2 assists in that game, 2 goals versus Leicester, a goal and assist today. He's arguably our second most informed player at the moment.
He's on fire. And credit to him because, again, when you look at the squad, he's probably the last person that anyone would think would be a starter in our team. He's been that player who's been in the team or been at the club for a long time, and we probably didn't think would take over. Yeah,
he was
correct.
even Rafa signed a beginning, yeah.
He was. So he's one of those players who you wouldn't think post takeover would be our starting right winger, or 3 years post takeover would be our starting right winger. But
it's crazy.
I mean, you can't deny the bloke. I mean, you're right with the roller coaster. I mean, even last week against Leicester.
But yeah, no, he's just. How does this work for January though, mate? This is. I don't want this to be the Miggy Almiron version 2.0 where we think we've got a right winger and we don't spend because he's in a bit of a purple patch at the moment. We still need to buy a right winger in January, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's still not someone, all due respect to him, that is probably going to be able to perform at this level for 38 games in a season. He obviously he can do it from time to time, and he gets on these runs where he has great assists, scores some cracking goals, but he probably is not your week in, week out starter performer that you can rely on. And if we are going to again avoid that position, it's just asking for trouble, because to expect Murphy to play the way he's been playing the last probably 3 or 4 weeks is probably unrealistic.
Yeah, and I think all signs are pointing to Miggy going in January. That might happen early too. I just hope, we do get that right winger, but at the same time, we might be able to sort of delay it. I don't know, maybe a week or two. Given his form, we don't have to try and strike early in January. We might have a little bit more time to negotiate and try and get ourselves a better deal and stuff like that. The last bloke I want to talk about, Sandro Tonali. I think the other boys have sort of mentioned him a fair bit too, and it was very interesting to hear Eddie talk about him post game and stuff like that. I think most people kind of might have picked up that him and Bruno are kind of doing a bit of a switcheroo at times during the game, and they've kind of got a license that one of them can really get forward, and if the other one's getting forward, the other one can drop deep a little bit and stuff like that. And it does seem to be working pretty well now, doesn't it? He's been absolutely pivotal. He's played 3 90-minute games over the course of 8 days, and he looks like he's the bloke that we signed from AC Milan, doesn't he?
He looks class, and you don't play as many games as you did for Milan at that age, and captain the club, and captain that club if you're not a genuine world-class footballer. And I mean, he took a bit of while. Obviously, he had his issues last season with the suspension and obviously acclimatizing to the Premier League and everything like that. But I think he's really cemented himself in the last month that he's has to be in this team, and what he does and what he provides us, no one else in our squad can do. And all due respect to Longstaff and the job that he's done previously, but he doesn't read the game like Sandro does.
He different
he
gravy.
He doesn't pass the ball like Sandro does. He doesn't sort of have that aura or confidence on the pitch like
It's
Tonali does. And
yeah. It's the
it's
speed of his passes too, man.
yeah,
Like,
he's
he is
crisp.
licking these
He's a one
balls
touch
out.
player.
Yeah.
He's a 1-2 touch max player, and those players are priceless. Anyone can circulate the ball after 3 or 4 touches and move and pass the ball backwards 100 times. But if you got someone like him who can move the ball quickly to the players who need the ball quickly, it's a massive thing for us. And like you said before, the fact that he's released Bruno now, and Bruno doesn't have to do that dirty work and hard work in front of the back four, and he can sort of be a little bit more free. And now Bruno, when he beats a man, he's in the final third. He's not in our sort of
He's not on
middle
halfway
third or
line
back
then.
third. Correct.
Yeah.
So that little trickery that Bruno can do to get around a player and keep the ball, it's very valuable. We don't have a natural 10, so getting Bruno closer to goal helps us in that way. But yeah, Sandro's, he's all class, and I'm just so happy for him because he's obviously been through a lot in the last 12 months, and now that he's thriving for us, I think we're starting to see why we forked out as much as we did for him. And we people forget we bought him to be a Champions League player to help us in the Champions League. So he's got that pedigree, and yeah,
Yeah.
the way he's
Would have
performing
been
at the
good.
moment, yeah, exactly right. Would have been handy. The way he's performing, I think, yeah, he's definitely going to carry us a lot higher up the table than we are now.
Yeah, absolutely. And just the fact that Bruno as well, who we were kind of told he is a number 6, like that's where he plays his best and stuff like that. His ability to be able to adapt to this sort of more advanced position so quickly, I think is part of the reason why we've kind of had the week that we did. Like he's he scored against Leicester, if I'm not mistaken. He had an assist against Brentford, that little square up for Shaw to basically tap in on the goal line. Had the assist yesterday as well, pressing up high for Isak to score his second goal. So
Yeah,
he's actually been really effective in a bit more advanced position
yeah,
as well. So I think, yeah, and not this isn't a knock on Bruno and that, but I think the way that Tonali just gets the ball and gets it going, like you said, with his 1-2 touches and gets the ball moving forward quickly is really helping us with our attacking and our ability to kind of get up the pitch really, really quick. And like our attacking players, I'd argue are as good as nearly anyone's in the league at the moment. Like Anthony Gordon, I know he's not at the levels of what he was last season, but I think his week has been really, really good as well. We spoke about Isak, we spoke about Murphy as well. Bruno's week's been massive. All our attacking players seem to be really clicking at the moment, and I think
yeah.
part of that, or a large part of that, is Sandro Tonali's ability to get the ball and get going really quickly.
Absolutely. And I think the one thing you just touched on before with that second is that goal when Bruno stole the ball in the penalty box for Ipswich. He's very good at winning the ball back, and he's very good at sort of nipping in, reading the game, shielding off an opponent. The fact that he can do that now in our final third is a massive thing for us. And again, Tonali gives us the luxury that Tonali is doing his previous role, or the dirty or more dirty work, so to speak. The fact that
Yeah,
Bruno can do that in the front third is huge. He won the ball back countless times yesterday in the front third, and it just gives us so many options, so many more options. And like you said, Isak and Gordon 1-on-1 with defenders, you're going to back them 9 times out of 10 to either make the right decision or get into an attacking spot to either shoot or find someone to score. So it is definitely looking like it's starting to come together, the style and the formation and the sort of the personnel that we're using. Now it's just about doing it week in, week out. And this morning probably was the first time I harped back to our Champions League season where we were just destroying teams after 60 minutes and rotating players out with 20, 30 minutes to go. And it's these sort of away performances where you win 4-0 away. I mean, winning 4-0 any Premier League game is great, but to do it away from home and Ipswich, obviously they're a newly promoted team. They're not world beaters, but they're definitely no easy beats either. They've given games to pretty much every team who's come to Portman Road. So we dispatched
Had a
some
great
very
result last week against Wolves as well.
exactly. They
Yeah.
took points off Man United at home. I'm pretty sure they drew with Villa, they drew with Brighton, so they've done decently at home this season, and we just took them apart. So you're right. Tonali seems to have unlocked something in this play, and hopefully long may continue.
Yeah. So just two things quickly, just on that. All right. So the first thing is you saying Tonali's seems to unlock something. This is the whole Eddie doesn't have a plan B. You can throw them wild nutters. Here, here's plan B. He's figured it out. All right. Everyone was going, oh, he can't play him. That doesn't work. He can't figure out how to get him to play together and make it work. Well, guess what? He has. All right. Just like every normal person said that he would, not these bloody lunatics on social media and stuff like that. The second thing I want to bring up is something that I noticed on the coverage that we got, and it's really hard because we don't know what coverage other people get overseas and what people see in the UK and all that sort of stuff. So I can only talk about what the stuff that we get here in Australia on Optus. But for one of the goals, they had a camera. So basically down, it was behind Martin Dubravka. So up maybe on the first level of the stand or something like that. And it's a really effective camera for Aussie rules. It's a really great coaching tool. And I've been fortunate enough to get access to some AFL games via that camera and helping to coach my players at the local club that I'm involved at. It's absolutely wonderful. And I've always wondered why the EPL don't use it, or if they do use it, why isn't it public? Because it's so good. Anyway, they had it. So for one of the goals, as the ball was going down the field, you could see our defenders, our sort of 4 defenders all rolling up in a line and stuff like that. And Dan Burn basically organising everything in front of him. And I think that's a really important thing too, to have a player and a leader without kind of being a captain behind the ball and being able to set everyone up. And it's sort of Bruno might have done that role a lot this year before sort of Tonali, this switch thing comes. So to have that sort of leader and the bloke that can organise everyone behind the ball and leave Bruno just to go and play and not have to worry about all that sort of stuff, I think it's going to be really important as well over the course of the year. And if it continues and stuff like that, and if he sees Tonali go up, he's going to make sure that Bruno or Jolit and Longstaff, whoever the other ones are playing at the time, actually come in and drop into that number 6 spot while the other one's attacking and stuff like that. So just wanted to mention that because I thought it was a really important thing, and it could be something that's really going to help us as well. That for all this attacking flair and stuff like that, we'll still got that organisation and shape behind the ball if we do turn it over and everything like that. And I'm sure he'd be doing the same if Lewis Hall took off with Anthony Gordon somewhere, and he might pull Tonali back into that left back spot for a little bit for cover and all that. So it's really important. And I just triggered me a little bit, my coaching instincts, I guess, when I was watching the game, just the camera angle and being able to see the whole pitch and stuff like that was really important. So yeah, 7th at the moment, mate. We've still got a couple of games overnight, which might sort of change our position. I think Tottenham have got Tottenham have got Liverpool.
Liverpool.
Yeah, which not so much from a Liverpool point of view, but a Tottenham result might affect us as well. I think Fulham and Southampton are playing as well, which could sort of impact our position. But we're only 2 points behind Villa in 5th. They've played the same amount of games as us, so that'll stay the same. And if you had said after 15 games that we're going to be 1 point behind City, I'm not sure if anyone would believe you, but it's more of probably a Man City issue rather than a Newcastle issue. Like their drop off has been frightening. I can't understand what's happened. Like they don't look like winning at the moment for a team of stars and quality that they have. Yeah, I've got no idea what's going on there, but they seem to have lost their aura, and everyone seems to be sort of really feasting on this rotten carcass at the moment. That they don't have anyone that kind of put their shoulders back and chest out and no, we're still the big dogs here. They've lost it all. So yeah, too bad for them. But Yeah, like I said, mate, our next three, Villa at home, Man U away and Spurs away. It's going to be a massive 3 games, and hopefully that the confidence and the form that we've sort of picked up over the last week can hold us in really good stead against these 3 teams who really, you don't want to say they're 6-pointers, but they kind of are, because these are all the teams that we're going to be fighting for Europe for and stuff like that.
Yep.
So if we can get points off them, and especially the away ones, if we can get 3 points against Villa in our Boxing Day fixture, that'd be massive. And then to get something at Man U and Spurs away could be an absolute rocket launcher for our season come 2025.
Absolutely. It's always a massive period, this festive period. There's always games every 2 or 3 days, and if you can get 2 or 3 wins in a row, it catapults you not only up the table, but your momentum drives into the new year. So it's huge that we've got Villa as well coming up, because like you said, they are 2 points above us. So we beat them, we jump them, and that gives us a bit of a yardstick and sort of push up the table. So look, the way we're playing at the moment, I don't think we should be fearing anybody. And these teams are around us. They are sort of fighting for the same spot. But if we're playing at our best, I'd back us against virtually anyone in this league, probably bar maybe going to Anfield. We haven't done anything at Anfield for 90 years or however long. Yeah. But besides
Since Adam was
that,
a boy.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Besides that trip, no other ground or team we should fear, especially the way we're playing at the moment. So let's worry about Villa first. Let's get the result against Villa and push towards Old Trafford with good vibes.
Yeah, absolutely. And just on that, I did do a little bit more research on our key attacking players that we spoke of earlier. We spoke about Isak's kind of minutes. So Bruno's played 65, 90 and 80 in the last 3 games. Gordon's gone 80, 77 and 90, but I think he's one of the blokes I think is trying to work back to full fitness after that summer and didn't get much of a break and stuff like that. So I think that's really important. This is the one that really kind of threw me. Jacob Murphy. He's played 65, 65 and 64.
He's the first off. He's always the first off.
All the good work and stuff that he's done, he's only playing an hour every game, which makes it kind of more impressive that the stuff that he's doing in the shortest time frame of anyone. He should have had a lot more than what he's got.
Yeah. Well, I think the word must be that Murphy, you got an hour. You just go hell for leather for 60 minutes and don't worry about anything after that. Empty your tank and Barnes will come on and play the last half an hour.
Yeah.
And if he's going to play like this,
works great.
Barnes has been doing well off the bench. If he's going to
he's still having a few chances in the last half an hour every game too.
Exactly. And Barnes has been a super sub for us this year. He's scored some crucial goals off the bench. So, I mean, mate, if it's working and if he's given us everything for 60 minutes, long may continue.
Yeah. And I think the most impressive one is the bloke we spoke about earlier as well, mate, Sandro Tonali. He's played a full game for the last 3 weeks. So I don't think there's any dispute about his fitness or anything like that now. He's back up to full tilt. And I think having that deeper lying role is probably where he's not having to get up and back as much as what he was at the start of the season playing. So this is what I don't think they've stumbled across it. I think this has been a carefully thought out thing. And, how can we get the best out of these guys and stuff like that? They couldn't have asked for it to go any better the last week in terms of results and man management during games and stuff like that. And hopefully it's set us up for the next 3 ones that we're going to be cherry ripe. We're going to be in a really good position, both physically, mentally, our confidence should be high. And we can really sort of launch into these 3 games, and hopefully we look back sort of at the past 6, as in these 3 and the next 3, and say, yeah, look, I think that's really set our season up, that we can maybe get 1 or 2 new bodies in January as well and really have a crack and see what happens.
Absolutely, mate.
All right, that might wrap us up for tonight. Dimi, we've both had big weeks. I can hear the rain slowly petering down. Now, it's been a beautiful week here in the sporting capital of the world as well. Christmas Day looks like it's going to be an absolute treat here. Nice sunny 29 Boxing Day. Stay inside and watch a cricket all day with a scorching 38 by the look of it. But for everyone watching and listening, and to you, Dimi, as well, I hope everyone has a very Merry Christmas. Stay safe, spend time with your loved ones and stuff like that. We'll be back. I don't even know whatever day Boxing Day is. We'll be back that night with a review of the Aston Villa game. Like I said earlier, we've lost track of days now. I just know whatever we play, we'll do a review that night of the Villa game. So, Dimi, thanks for your time, mate. Like same again, mate. Very Merry Christmas to you and the family. And I just hope everyone has a great time and great day. Stay safe. Look after yourself and look after one another.
Cheers,
Thanks,
mate.
Dimi.
Merry Christmas.